How do I get from a blank page to this? Now, over the years of being an artist, I've thought of different ways that can help me through this process and idea generate a little bit easier, and I wanted to talk about it. So there's three main points that I want to talk about in this video that help me generate ideas and fill a sketchbook out. Realistically, all of them are centered around coming off the internet and getting off your phone. First big one is I think people need to touch grass. People need to get out and experience real life. Fundamentally, what matters is your point of view, your POV, your voice, your opinion. How do you see the world? How are you putting that down onto paper? What is your interpretation of the world? That's what we want to see, and that is uniquely yours. Nobody can take that away from you. That's what makes art so special. Obviously, the internet is good. It has its bad parts like anything else. I mean, it probably has a lot of fucking bad parts. It can only offer you so much. Of course, you can get a lot of fundamental art research from there, but essentially what I'm trying to say is like primary research. Go out and get your own physical primary research through your own eyes. Once you look on Pinterest and you found an artist you really like and you want to start making bodies of work like them, that artist, this includes photographers as well, even if you're picking like a reference out. They've already chose the composition, they've already chose the lighting, they've already chose the colors. All the decisions have been made. All those parameters are keeping you like boxed in. There's no real way to move around that. I think that can really limit you, and especially when you're drawing, you're always confronted by, or do I do it their way or do I do it my way? You can also really just run the risk of copying someone's art style, which is obviously a bad thing. You want to make your own voice, your own opinions matter, and drawing is a way to do that. But in my opinion, it can really taint the art practice, because you lose the possibility of how would I have approached the subject myself? What mistakes could happen, and I might have discovered something new in my art practice. So for example, if you see a street light in real life, how you capture that will depend on your point of view. Finding a reference of a streetlight on Pinterest, the point of view is already there, it's not your point of view. For me personally, I love stepping outside and finding inspirations in ways that I would have never saw before by just like paying attention and looking closely at things, whether it's architecture, I see an animal that day, or I have like a conversation with someone. For example, this duck drawing that I did a while back was from a trip that I went on with my girlfriend, and I took my own photo, but I think what really helped was understanding the duck in real life, and I had a bunch of visual clues and inspiration while on that trip, which I used as motifs and visual language in that drawing. And I know essentially it is just drawing the reference or the photo in front of me, but that is from my perspective, that is the photo I took. And I also think that the drawing came out a lot better than if I'd have just found a random duck photo online, because I had that experience with the duck being all cute sitting in front of me, and I think we even fed these ducks. So I had this whole lived experience that like informed what I was drawing. And I'm not saying it has to be the most groundbreaking idea, and this duck has like changed my life. The internet is just a really controlled place, so you're really constrained in what you can see because you're the one searching it. Unless you're like endlessly scrolling on your phone, then obviously the algorithm is deciding what you can see and what you're not going to see next. In real life, there's always an opportunity to see something new or have a conversation. Basically have an NPC encounter that can lead to more ideas and fresh perspective. I think that's what makes us uniquely human. The internet can't really do that because all the ideas are already there, like packaged up neatly. These random NPC encounters could be like small sparks of an idea, and they might not fully materialize until you're hiring or like weeks later, but they're raw and they're like the foundation to a good idea. So an example for me is I live in York, and it's a great medieval city, and I've been really leaning into making fantasy drawings at the moment. So the minute I stepped inside the Minster, which is an old cathedral in York, I just found myself staring around a lot of this old beautiful buildings, and like all the details in the architecture, the stained glass windows, the visual motifs make up this huge building, and imagined all the people before me like making all of this stuff. Like, I'm just not getting that experience on the internet. And like, okay, I might be able to look at a picture on the internet of the Minster. Going there in person, the ideas I get when I come home or like when I'm there feel so much more real. Now, obviously going outside all the time costs a bit of money nowadays. Everything's just expensive. You can just go on a walk and get inspired anyway, but one thing I do to help combat that is when I do go out, let my mind be open, be curious, be free, have the experience, and then if an idea pops up in my brain, I normally jot it down in my phone on my notes app, so then when winter comes around and I don't really feel like going outside anymore because it's cold, I have like a bank of ideas in my notes app that I can just pull on randomly when I feel like I'm just staring at a blank page too much. Okay, number 2, get bored. Let your mind wander. I feel like everyone now is trying to fill their brains too much and suppress the demons. Don't fill it with overstimulating content and little devices that are like draining the dopamine from your little brain. Most ideas are always going to come from those quiet, boring moments in your life. And obviously, I'm not saying just to stare at a wall and hopefully that the creative gods just bless an idea from the heavens down on you, but simply just get bored. How many of you can say you have been bored recently? You know that boredom when you were a kid and your brain would wander and you'd figure something out to do and it would be the best thing ever and you'd turn a cardboard box into a spaceship. Because there is scientific proof that our subconscious, where creativity gets its ideas from, it's more accessible when we are bored. Source, trust me bro. If we limit the distractions around us, we're more likely to think of these ideas. You know, the idea isn't going to come from endlessly scrolling on your phone, looking at the internet, just hoping something's going to happen, some spark is going to hit you. And some of my best ideas have genuinely come from when I'm trying to sleep. I feel like for this one to work, you have to be doing something kind of boring, but actually like keeping your brain awake enough so it can just wander off into different places. So a lot of the time, just like being in the shower, brushing your teeth. Hopefully you guys do that. Like doing chores is a really good one, or just going for like a normal walk. Honestly, once your brain quiets down and you're not feeling like you're constantly having to go, move quickly to do stuff, especially when you're on your phone. Like if I scroll on my phone, that's all I think of. I'm just anxious because I should not be feeding my brain that much information all at once. Get off your phone, get off the screen, get bored, go do a boring task. Maybe you'll think of that cool story, maybe you'll think of that cool drawing you wanted to do. It's somewhere deep at the back of your brain, you're just not letting yourself access it enough. Okay, last but not least is pay attention. Guys, consume media with intent. Really invest in the things that you enjoy doing, whether it's playing games, watching TV shows. I enjoy reading fantasy books, and obviously that gives me like crazy amount of ideas when I'm reading it because I'm having to imagine the words that someone is putting down in like a visual way. I once had a cool idea to do a Fourth Wing drawing, which is a book about dragons, but that's kind of like a shortcut into having like a cool idea because the idea is already there, the story's there, but you can kind of interpret that in your own way. It's easy to get caught in a plethora of screens and have multiple, like this, have multiple screens going on at once and having your attention be divided. For example, this could be you sitting on social media on TikTok, playing your TikTok really loud while also a film is playing. Your brain's in two different modes there trying to catch up with itself. And I think this is inherently stopping people from actually being filled with like diverse amounts of knowledge. There's like really cool things to be consumed, like media wise. There's cool films, cool music, cool games, cool books. I think if you truly just let yourself sit with them and enjoy them for what they are as like a piece of art, I think that in itself can spawn your own interpretations of ideas that are already created, because realistically most ideas aren't original. There's no way that anyone can have like an original idea anymore. We are at the point of humanity where this is impossible. I think new ideas are a mash-up of old ideas in a different perspective. So instead of trying to think really hard about a groundbreaking idea or something original, have you ever thought of just combining two things that you like together? An example of this for me would be to imagine what would Yu-Gi-Oh be like if it was set in medieval times, but instead of using cards to duel, they were dueling with the idea of gods. Authors actually do this a lot. There's a reason it works, because say for example you take two recognizable things and mash it into one, that's still going to be recognizable to the audience. So of course it will work again. It's just a new perspective. I think taking your time to consume media and having a bit of intent while doing so, you'll really start to understand like what you enjoy, what it is you want to draw, and what you want to create in the world from your perspective. And it doesn't even have to be groundbreaking media. It can be simple things like playing a video game and then you have unlocked a new cool sword. And now that gives me an idea that I want to draw a sword. I want to draw a cool sword that has some meaning behind it. I want to add to that story and I want to draw a character with the sword. What's the story behind this character and this specific sword? And honestly, it can just like snowball like that. And I think that's what makes a good idea. It just starts to snowball and it's like exponential. And honestly, I'll re-loop this back to phones. It's not going to help scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on your phone. Your brain doesn't even have a minute to think for itself. So those are three things that helped me come up with my ideas. Obviously, this could change, and I feel like it's a thing that's always evolving because we see the world differently as we grow older. Keep a note of all the ideas on your phone or a notepad so you have a backlog of things you can always refer to. If you have cool and interesting ways of coming up with ideas, then make sure to drop them in the comments below. I always love to hear about people's art processes and different ways you can idea generate. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps out an absolute ton, and I really appreciate it. Oh, it even dropped some height points on this shit. I don't even know what that does, but it just sounds fucking cool. So, and yeah, like always, new video every other Thursday. We'll see you in the next one.